Hey, what is up guys? Kevin here with P.O.G, bringing you a deck profile for Digimon. Oh wow, Digimon stuff on this channel? Blasphemy. Yeah, so I wanted to bring this deck profile to you because went to locals today, played, got first, and went undefeated, which, you know, isn't that big of a deal. It's locals. But not only were we able to go undefeated, we got lucky enough to go true undefeated and 2-0ing our opponents in yeah, every matchup. But again, like I said, not that impressive, but it's pretty cool, right? So with that being said, let's get into it. As you can tell by the title, this is security control, so obviously the eggs, we're not going to talk about those. These don't matter. These can be whatever you want. However, if you're going somewhere to an event, I would always bring at least 4 eggs, just in case, just to fool the opponent, maybe get him thinking, yeah, he's playing a normal deck, his eggs matter, so bring 4 eggs at least. 5 is nice too. Shuffle them up and let your opponent cut them, make them think it matters. So that does matter. It doesn't matter at locals because everybody knows I play security control, nobody cares, but like I said, for anywhere else, this matters. It's a nice little bluff. With that said, let's get into the good stuff here. Starting off, play 3 Magnadramons, big heart and soul of the deck, obviously, right? You know what this does. As 3 or less security, you get to recover 2. Yeah. For Magna Angemon, same thing as this, except it's a recover 1 on play regardless of how many you have. Yay, pretty good. And the last recovery Digimon we play is Lucimon. Obviously playing this for the effect on Magnadramon. It says when attacking, you can play a level 3 yellow Digimon from your hand. It does get the on-play effect, so it's another recover. However, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you can play this for a 5 cost instead of 13. So it's a 5 cost recovery. So overall, we do have 14 recoveries when it comes to our Digimon. Perfect. I don't think anybody ever messes with this. I think this is the ratio right now that everyone plays, so very, very good. All right. Moving on to the rest of the Digimon. We play 4 of our Omnimon Zwart Defeat. Great card. Gets checked in security. It gets played for free. Does not do the battle, so you do have to remind your opponent sometimes. Especially those who don't come up against this enough. Their Digimon does not actually battle this insecurity. With this variant, we do have an ability to actually bring this out, so you know, you can pop some Tamers here and there. Third effect being able on deletion to delete one of your opponent's Digimon, so regardless of what it is. Good. As big boy to attack with, just free bodies too. Then we get into the spicy stuff. If you saw Mario's guest deck profile for the guy that got store championship, he played this little red package. I thought I'd test it out today. I really liked this. I got to use all the cards in the red package in some form or another. Mainly I think it was all in mostly first round, but it's still pretty good. So if you don't know, Skullgreymon on play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon that has blocker. Great. If your opponent's going to hard play blockers, you're going to punish them for playing blockers by hard playing your own destruction. So really, really good. For that to evolve on top of, we also have the Megadramon, whose effect says on Digivolve, both players trash the top 5 cards. Of their decks. So you're able to like run through some things. So playing against purple, this isn't too great because they want things in their trash. But against everything else, it's pretty nice. You can hit some really nice things. Just say, yeah, get out of here. We don't want to see any of it. Unfortunately, the only time that this actually went off was against purple. It really didn't matter too much. I believe I evolved one of these on top of it. So I never got the secondary effect, which says on deletion, if you control a Tamer, you can play a Digimon with Gallantmon in its name from your hand or your trash without paying its memory cost. And obviously we play Gallantmon here. Gallantmon being the obvious option, just because of its secondary effect that says when attacking, you can trash one of your opponent's security cards for every 10 cards that are in their trash. I actually did get this effect up. I believe I didn't hard play this. I think I evolved on top of one of these. I know I might have hard played it. It was very in late game, so hard played this. Opponent set up 3 blockers in purple. Had big enough field where this actually mattered, and it just said, hey, you know, get stuff off of the field, because they had such a huge trash pile already, which is nice. So it did go through. It's really, really nice. I resolved this against purple also, and also the Skullgreymon was against purple, but after that I didn't see it for the rest of the day, I don't think. I know I hard played this in round 2 against Shoutmon, the Megadramon, but I did not have a Tamer, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, I'm dumb. So never got to resolve the effect to summon this off of it, but you know, whatever. Very, very good. I would keep this. This is pretty busted. It's amazing. And I can't wait to see more people start playing this, especially when the next set comes out, where this is a little bit more accessible to get into. So, yeah. Moving on from there, we get our last 2 Digimon. I played 2 Chaosmon valder arms. Now, these are supposed to be X-Antibodies. This is what I do want to play as X-Antibody. I do not want to play valder arm, but because USPS is very, very slow, this is what I had to make do with. Came up, actually was able to remove stuff off my opponent's side of the field. They destroyed this during their turn. I gained 3 memory. It passed to my turn. Just really, really good. If you don't have X-Antibodies and you have Chaosmon valder arms, this is a suitable and perfectly fine option for you guys to play. 6 cost is a little hefty, but you know, whatever. And then we get into our options. Obviously, we're going to play for Gaia Force. If you're playing Security and you're not playing Gaia Force, what are you doing? We're going to play Boneless Gaia Force, Transcendental Sword, or Transcendent Sword, my bad. 1 cost less, but it has to delete something that's 11,000 or less, unless you control an Omnimon, and we can control an Omnimon. If you do, it's going to be delete something with 15,000 or less instead of the 11,000, so it becomes pretty good. Boneless wise being the 11, and then, you know, almost full power being the 15, unless there's like, you know, a freaking huge Lord Nightmon, you know. It doesn't really matter. We played 2 Trident Revolver. Trident Revolver was really, really good because we do happen to play 7 Tamers. This is really good for early game and keeping our opponent's memory really, really low, because a lot of things you are going to have to pay a lot of memory. Early game, I would suggest, and this is what I've learned, is that you don't start building memory early. I know a lot of people are going to go, well, duh, but there's some people that are going to want to pick up security control, and they need to know that. Do not build up security super duper early, unless in doing so you can keep your opponent low in memory. This helps because if you're at 3, you know, you're going to set them to 3 anyways, and then you're obviously going to get that extra Tamer played for free if it's 4 cost or less, which is really, really good. You can set up a memory Tamer as well. And then for the last red options we played 2 Plasma Strike. Plasma Strike was really, really good, and in Mario's deck profile, or the guy that was on Mario's channel's deck profile, the cards we took out to play this, they didn't play this. We took out a Craniumon, the Craniumon that he played, because I hate that card. I think it's terrible right now. Craniumon's, yeah, we're not going to talk about it. It's a blocker, and that's all it is. But I took that out, and we took out the black option, the what's it called? The Ultimate Flare. I really hate that card too. It's just not any good. We took out 1 Ultimate Flare, and so we were able to play 2 Plasma Strike. And the reason we played Plasma Strike is because we know locals, and locals plays a lot of red in general, and that's bad. So yeah, very, very bad. We hate it. Um, so yeah, it's our easy out. And this came up multiple times today where in round 2 and 3 where I played against red, red is obviously going to overextend and want to go into its big boys very, very quickly. And sure enough, they did, and either they attack into it, or I play this from my hands for only 4 costs, which is crazy. That's it. Very, very simple. So yeah, if you have a lot of red, or you know, like where you're going, it's going to be a lot of red. Yeah, you just play Plasma Strikes. From there, we move on to our yellow options. Obviously, we play 4 of Holy Wave. Holy Wave is very, very nice. It's another recovery card. And at times, if there's nothing else that you can play and you have this in your hand, and if you're at 3, sending your opponent to 3 is really, really nice for that recovery too, especially if you can take account of what your opponent has in their trash, what you have in your trash, and your hand. And even playing the TKs that we play, obviously, and checking the security and making sure, okay, what's in there, what's not in there, what's the possibility of me hitting something worthwhile into security. And then from that, our last yellow option that we play is 2 Eden's Javelin. The only reason we play this and is because it's a good deletion. In this game, or in this version of this deck, a lot of your hands look like bricks, but they're actually not. Let me explain. Opening hand during round 1 was just a lot of options and tamers. So there was turns where I was just passing and putting my opponent to 3, and which was really, really nice, because eventually this did come up. I was able to draw, I had enough cards in hand, and I was able to Eden's Javelin something away so I didn't die. It's not the best, but it is a draw card and a potential pop. But obviously, once BT6 comes out in North America, this is gone. Obviously we don't play this anymore. This is kind of bad. This is actually really bad. Moving on from there, our last option that we play is 3 Ultimate Flare. I hate this card. I never want to play this card. It's really, really bad. People say, no, it's good, it's good. It's good in certain situations, but overall it's pretty bad. Deep Digivolving is great, so you can get rid of your opponent's things, but sometimes, especially in red, your opponent just adds materials under things, and it doesn't matter. Or things have Digiburst, and they just get rid of certain materials, and you're like, hey, we're done. It doesn't matter. It's just going to go to 3. And the fact that it deletes things that are play cost 3 or less really, really sucks. Which I think a lot of people need to remember. I know people are going to say, well, duh, it's play cost 3 or less. But I know a lot of people out there actually playing it level 3 or less, that are, get out here. That's not how that works. It's play cost 3 or less. Gone, So yeah, I hate this. I hate this card. I never want to play it again after BT6, but I know I probably might have to, depending on what sticks around, especially at locals. I'm not playing. Hold on. I'm never playing Security Control again after this format. After the next set comes out, I'm not playing Security Control ever again. Okay, let's leave that at that. But I'm just saying, in general, for people that do want to play, I am so glad that nobody will have to play this. They might, but I really don't think people should be playing this. This card sucks. The only reason we play it is because it's situational when it comes to how good it can be. Is there Rookie Rush? Perhaps. Then it's good. Every other time, maybe not. We move on to our Tamers. We play 3 Izzy Izumi from BT4. This allows us to look at the top 3 and rearrange things in the way that we want to rearrange them. Very good. But other than that, though, it's alright. It's a memory tamer. It gives us 3 at the beginning of our turns. If we're lower than 3, if we're at 1 or 2, obviously. 2 TK. Card is okay. It almost screwed me over. But we're good. It just allows you to check your security and get yellow useful cards out of there, like your recovery Digimon and whatnot. So you definitely do not want those in your security. So you're able to take it and replace it with something else. But more often than not, you're just going to put another security Digimon in there for whatever reason. And the last card we played that was not played in the Mario's channel video is 2 Izzy and Mimi from BT05. Why do I play this? So, when it came to their deck profile, right? They were playing Joe and Sora and Joe. And Sora and Joe is good for what it's supposed to do, but it's situational. So the reasoning they gave with Ty and Matt, not playing Ty and Matt in their deck profile, was that it wasn't always going to happen, and that them just hard playing things and not having a Digi source underneath was more likely. But you know what's more likely than that? Attacking. Because that's what this is. If you start your turn, your opponent has a suspended Digimon, you're going to gain 2 memory. So, yeah, your opponent has to attack. That's how they win the game. Unless they're going to deck you out some way. I don't think that's a thing right now. But, yeah, they have to attack. And it was plenty of times during the day where it was, you know, I had one of these 2 on field. And this came out, it was either insecurity or I hard played it or played it off a Trident Revolver. It was really, really good. It was able to put me to 5, and with 5 I can give my opponent less memory, and if my opponent has less memory, it's good for me because that means there's less things that they can do. Yeah? Okay. And they do stack, so if you do have multiple, if you have 2 on field, you're going to gain 4 if they have 1 tapped Digimon. So yeah, and that did come up in final round. I'm pretty sure I had almost every Tamer out, which happens relatively often. You get a majority of your Tamers out, so you're not going to have to really worry about too many Zwart defeats just like popping everything, because you'll have enough Tamers. But Izzy and Mimi, they do stack because they came out in finals, and I believe I was at 5. He put me at 5. And he had one Digimon that was suspended, and I went up to 9 because of this. So really, really, really good. Not everybody's going to go to 6 if they see Matt and Ty's. Yes, being able to attack security +1 with Zwart is really, really nice, but you know, not always going to happen. 2, Sora Joe. What your opponent's going to hard play during game 1, realize you're playing this, and then never hard play or rarely hard play ever again, right? Your opponent doesn't have the ability to say, no, I'm never going to attack, you know, unless they're playing something that's just going to stall you out completely. Like, they have to start attacking. And this makes up for, you know, running into a boneless Gaia Force with a Transcendent Sword. You know, maybe you can't destroy their big boy that just attacked you. You can destroy something else, and the next turn you can profit off that big boy staying on their side of the field. So yeah, that's where this came up. Really, really good. If I would say you have to play any 2 Tamer, like this is your base, and you can play any other 2 Tamers you want, between Matt and Ty, Sora and Joe, and Izzy and Mimi, Izzy and Mimi is the way to go because it is more likely to constantly happen. Your opponent obviously has to attack, right? And if this turns them off for attacking, good for you, because then that means you get more turns to build up cards in your hand or on your field. So yeah, really, really good overall. But yeah, that's the deck profile. Like I said, we only played 3 rounds because 2 of the players doing round 1 got a draw from time limit. And because of that, we only got to play 3 rounds, being the last undefeated. So obviously, you know, there's no reason to keep playing. So we only had 3 rounds. We had, how many people did we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 to 12? I'm not sure. I think it was 10. But, you know, still pretty good for locals. Really, really enjoyed it. We'll play this again for sure. And with this, you really don't have to be afraid of red too much anymore. You kind of still have to be afraid of purple. Sometimes they just get to swing really, really wide, and that's a shame. It's a damn shame. But other times, it's pretty good. You're mainly just going to try to focus on, you know, clearing your opponent's board with this version of the deck. albeit by hard playing cards or, you know, just letting them attack into things. And for the most part, just like not summoning Digimon and letting them kill themselves, like wiping their board, letting them play, letting them draw their cards, and then they kill themselves eventually, because that's what happens. With red, it becomes they get greedy, they make big board, you say bye, and you know, they have to redo it again, and they keep drawing, and they keep wasting cards in their hand. And the next turn, guess what you do again? You clear board, and you go bye, and that's how the deck works. That's literally it. There's nothing special about this deck. People say that it is a brain dead deck. They're wrong. You have to have some type of skill to play this deck. Not skill, but you have to have the ability to comprehend what's going to happen, what can happen, and you do have to pay attention to your opponent's trash. Because if you've deleted 2 of their big boys that they easily build up to, that they need, that's like their win con or whatever, you need to know, hey, okay, cool, I don't play my Gaia Force, I play something else to get rid of their board, or I save that for the next turn to just clear that off. That's all you really want to do. So the goal is security control. That I don't know why nobody ever really talks about it. They're just like, yeah, security control is pretty straightforward, it's brain dead. It's not, though. There's a plan, and that plan for most decks is let your opponent build big, tear it down, make them build big again, tear it down until, you know, they have to play the mid to long game, in which case you kind of just outgrind them in security resource, right? So like, as long as you stay alive, you're fine. And then eventually you'll get Digimon out and you can start attacking, and you can slowly get them down. Either that or you'll deck them out. So with that being said, guys, what do you think? How would you change it? What do you like? Maybe you'll try some things. Let me know how you feel about security control. It's a brain dead deck. Yeah, okay, cool. But we take those. Who cares, you know? But from that, again, let me know. Leave a comment down below. What you think about security control. Would you play this? You know, blah 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 blah. Don't forget to like, as always. Share with your friends. Show them how much you hate security control, I guess. And with that being said, check out all the links down below. And yeah, this is Kevin with P.O.G. Until next time, guys. See ya.